What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about DIA today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Shout out to Peter Davies on this one, man. I meant to make this for you last night, but I forgot. I genuinely just forgot. There was so much stuff I was talking about. 47 cents right now. That's no excuse. It's a poor excuse if it is, but low to high. Let's see. Low to high. Hitting the 786, ripping back above the golden ratio, hitting the 0.5, and getting back below the golden ratio is not necessarily what you want to see. Generally speaking, moments like this would promote growth that extends to the 382 at least, if not all the way up to the 236. So you got a relatively weaker than average move. But to be completely fair, February was a relatively bad month for crypto. And in February, you actually went up. You went up a good bit. End of February, you came down, and this week you're down a little bit, but isn't everything. You're down 10%. What's the average crypto down on? Let's see. Others. Average crypto this week is down about 4.5%, so a little bit more down than the average coin, okay? But let's be real, too. From the low here in October to the high there in December, the average coin moved up 135%. DIA looks like it moved up more, unless I just have this price scale out of scale, 418%. So it might make sense that you might drop a little bit more than the average coin if you pumped more than the average coin, right? You've got more to give back. Still at higher highs, or higher lows and higher highs, to be fair. Looking at the weekly RSI, you are maintaining your higher lows here as well. I like that. That's good. Yeah, as long as you've got that going on, I think you're in a good posturing. If you give this up, that might be a bad thing. That might not look good, you guys. I'm going to take off the lightsabers here. We're going to get rid of that. There we go. For a long time, I kept them. I kept the lines like that because it's just nice to have that all the way through, right? But now I don't like that so much. I find it more distracting, but to each their own, right? There's no wrong way or right way to skin a cat, I suppose. Or maybe there is a wrong way to skin a cat. There's a man, I'm not getting these analogies right today. There's multiple ways to do something, okay? There's multiple ways to get the job done. 0.5 down to the 236, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. I could see that. You're respecting the hell out of this fib. Look at that. 382 down to your 069, 0.5 to your 236. Pretty volatile, pretty obscure. You don't normally see this, but hey, you're respecting the hell out of it. You're absolutely going to run up to your golden ratio, if not beyond. So you're at 46 cents now. I feel very confident that you'll see prices above $1.60, if not something that's around $2.10. Something like that. You could go even higher and see something as high as maybe 277. I don't know if you get much past that though, right? You're finding support here at your relative 786, and not on this fib scale, but from this low to this high on the fib scale, right? You're finding support there. Maybe you find resistance because you've shown an interest, a significant interest right here at this 786. Let's see. Did you find support at this 786 too? Let's see. If so, it's conclusive. High to low or low to high. 786 right there, baby. A little bit through it, but yeah, right at the 786. So it wouldn't surprise me actually if you went right up to about $2.85. You might fall just shy of it and find resistance just below your 786 right here where you found resistance before. That could happen. $2.54, something like that could happen. But if you go up to 285, that really wouldn't surprise me at all. It also wouldn't surprise me if you stopped at $1.63. So when are you going to do this, right? That's the question probably some people are asking. When? Okay, so we're going to go there. That's cool, C-Zar, but when is it happening, man? I want to know. Don't just tease me now, C-Zar. Tell me what's up. Tell me when it's going to happen. Okay, I got you. Don't worry. Hit the like button and subscribe, okay? 246% right now would be the golden ratio, and that's awesome. That's like the minimum expectation, or not the minimum expectation, but the average expectation that I have for the average altcoin to do by the end of March, if not by the end of April. So like overall throughout this next move, and that's when I think this move is going to end. By the way, that's when I think this move will come to full maturity, is sometime late April, if not mid-April for the average coin. Some might top off earlier, some might top off later, right? Stuff like that. But I would think any time from the end of March to the end of April would be this. You're telling me it could move up this much by the end of March? You know how fast it have to move? Yeah, it'd probably have to move up about that fast. Crypto's more bullish now. Like this next move is going to be the most bullish move we've seen in crypto. So yeah, I'm fully aware of what it would have to do. It would have to do a move basically of that same size, right? Even a little bit bigger, but it's at this same size. It would be above this if it did that in the same time, right? That was from the low. That was 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks later. 4 weeks from here, from the low, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. That put us at the very end of March, so the very beginning of April. So yeah, it can happen. It can definitely happen. Beyond this can happen. Let alone something that'd be all the way up here, which I could see happening, man. A nice 6x for DIA. That kind of makes sense. What's DIA's market cap? Just did a video on Ronin kind of, and it wasn't intended to be about Ronin specifically, but I chose that one, and it was either going to be a good video for Ronin or a video where I picked on it. And in a sea of cryptos that are just absolute trash, the odds of picking trash were good, so I picked trash on accident, but that's okay. Dia, $56 million market cap, very low market cap. That's a very low market cap, you guys. 46, is that the same? That's the same one, yeah. Hey, hey, ho, ho. And look at that. That volume's nice too, guys. I love that, man. Yeah. Yeah. I should have I should have used Dia as my example in the last video. Wow, that's good. Yeah, I like this a lot. Let's look at the daily time frame here. Moving up a little bit coming out of this. It's good to have volume that's over 10%. Or at least over 8%, I think. 5% would be at least desirable to some degree, but anything above 8% is encouraging for sure. You've got a market cap of 56 million and your volume was basically like 20% of that. That's awesome. A little bit less than 20%, but still, that's awesome. That's good, especially coming out of these lows. I love seeing that, man. I love seeing that. What about something that has volume on it? Let's see. Yeah, you're like at low levels of volume and you're promoting good volume. That's what we like to see, you guys. Come on now. Anybody who just watched my what I look for video, you'll know what I'm talking about with this volume stuff. Yeah, buddy. I like it. I like that. Anyways, there's interest in here. Is all I'm trying to say by that. Okay, if we go back to the chart here, likely I'm actually under the impression that not only could you see something at this high of a level, but you could absolutely crush that. Right? I was unaware of how low of a market cap you had. It's 56 million. I forget how low these things are sometimes. You know, not saying that this can happen, but with lower market cap cryptos, when they get recognition, when they finally take off, you can see a 10x move. You can see beyond that, right? I mean, I'm not saying you're going to do a 30x, but it's possible, right? By the end of this move, by the end of this whole ordeal, by the end of April, it wouldn't be out of the question at all if you saw $14. I know that might sound crazy. This would never happen, C-Zar. You've probably not been in crypto at all, right? You're probably new to crypto and you've never seen this kind of stuff happen. It happens all the time. It literally happens all the time, you guys. There was a coin that I was holding last month or I guess a month and a half ago that did this exact thing, basically to a very similar scale, actually. It doesn't mean that it has to happen, but it also came from a market cap that had something that was lower than $100 million, you know, and that's where you see these kind of miraculous growths happen, right? It's in these coins. Now, does it mean that it has to? No. It could genuinely only see a 3x. It could see a 4x, you know, something like that. And only a 3 or 4x, oh no, I know. I'm sure anybody holding DIA would be happy enough with that, let alone a 786, which would be a 6x, let alone with anything else. I really like the 786 idea because that's where you've been finding resistance at or support at for the time being on these moves up. But it also doesn't really align with the price action here. And to me, I don't think that you would stop. I don't think that you would stop below it. So if you're not going to stop at it, you're not going to stop below it. Maybe you do go all the way up to the 886. I'm not confident into where you're going to be by the end of this move. It's really a big range. I mean, you could be anywhere from $1.63 to $14.31, man. If I had to be the most confident about anything, I suppose I would say something around $2.85 to $5.80 would be my expectation. Nothing above, nothing below. That'd be my zone of expectations. C-Zar's call, but it could very well be higher. It could very well be lower. X's and O's, hugs and kisses, right? Or hugs, kiss, hugs. I think X's are hugs, right? And then O's are kisses. Or maybe O's are hugs and then X's are kisses. I don't know. I suppose it could work both ways. Anyways, X's and O's, hugs and kisses. X's are definitely hugs. O's are definitely kisses. Okay. Okay. We all learned a little something about how my brain works there, I guess. 3-day time frame on the RSI, you've got higher lows right here. You've got lower lows in the 3-day time frame. You are moving down on the price. You've got lower lows here, lower highs there, right? Moving down, and then you've been consolidating here in your 3-day time frame on the RSI. You've been in a downtrend as well. I would assume with this correlation, direct correlation, that whenever you break out of this 3-day RSI to the downside, whenever you break out to the upside, you're likely going to get this next move, this next expansive move, right? Look here, listen, all right? Look here, Sonny, listen. You had a downtrend right here, right? And down at the bottom. Right here down at the bottom, that's when you started to break out of it, right? And then you started to rip on through. Not immediately, mind you. It wasn't an immediate thing, but about a couple of weeks later, about a month or so, it took you to get up there. So you're not breaking out of it yet. but you might be getting exciting. March might be the month that you figure things out, and then April might be the month that you really rip, which might again add to the idea that you don't see new all-time highs, and you probably do stop around your 786. You can move fast in a very short amount of time, but it depends on how fast you do move up. You know, just because you did this last time, just because you found your low here and you broke out right here, right, and then you continued to go lower, and it took you from July 17th, 2024 until September to move up. Just because it took you that long doesn't mean it's going to take that long here. It can absolutely happen at a faster pace, but all I'm trying to say is when you do break out of this downtrend as you did here, it didn't mean that it was immediately time to move up, right? And actually it was right here that you broke out of your downtrend in the RSI. It wasn't time to immediately move up. This time it might be more immediate than this last time, but it's not going to be like as soon as you break this you're just through the roof, okay? But inevitably you are coming to an end in the downtrend in the RSI. If you notice here, what is similar about the low, where here you broke out of it, right? And that was back in September, and you still July, and you consolidated for another 2 months after that. Your actual low, where you built from, you had bullish divergence. You had a higher low in the RSI. You can see that there with the lower low in the price. Here you have bullish divergence as well. So I would say in equivalence to where this thing is, you're probably here. Even though by this time you had already broken out. By this time you had already broken out of your downtrend in the RSI. Or you already had a taste of it, and this time you don't have that. I would say that you are basically at the same area, and you might be further along even in a certain respect. You might be moving up sooner from this low. That was August 13th, and then you started to move up, end of September, middle of September. That's when you started to move up. I think essentially what I'm trying to say here is I don't think it'll take a month for you to start breaking out, but a couple weeks maybe it takes a week. Maybe you don't spend any time figuring things out at all, and then you just and rip. Maybe you just rip. Who knows? But a little bit of prospects or what I'm seeing in this thing. Okay, let's look at the daily time frame. Daily time frame broke out of its downtrend. Nice, liking that. Looks like you do want to move up relatively short in a short amount of time here. 4-hour time frame probably looking bullish. Let's see. It's a little bit volatile, and you would expect that, right? It's not bullish or bearish, to be fair. Getting overbought, getting oversold, it's just volatile. You get very volatile whenever you're getting overbought and oversold, and you're not just adhering to one side or the other. I wouldn't say it's bullish or bearish. It just looks neutral on the 4 hours. So as far as that's concerned, you could come lower. You could go higher. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna do something. It's gonna be one of the two. That much I can tell you. I would guess right now, being where you are, you're at about a 60, 55, something like that. You might be rejecting here. Let's see. Or you might be going up. Let's see. Let's take this relative high to relative low. Come on now, baby, right there. To the golden ratio right there. Perfect. And then you move on down. Yeah, something like that. Down to the 382, 236, somewhere in this area. Yeah. You probably do move down a little bit. Down to about 44 to 42.3 cents today, maybe tomorrow. If not, you could just keep moving up. We do know you like that 786 area. In fact, I'm kind of curious. Let's see. Did you respect your 786 here? You got an obsession if you did. No. You found resistance right at your golden ratio. Okay, cool. So it was just on the longer term time frames. So yeah, you probably move down a little bit. I don't think that you see a lower low than this low. I am calling for something that's around 42 to 44 cents, but if you go lower than that, it's fine. You can go lower than that. As long as you're holding above this low, above like 36 cents, I think you're in good shape to make a recovery in a very short amount of time. Double bottoms are nothing to be afraid of. There's something to be encouraged. We want to see double bottoms. They're good. Oh, I don't think I have anything else that I want to say, you guys. Oh, you do have bullish divergence though. Oh, but you already saw that move play out, so never mind. As far as all-time high predictions go, because I'm sure some people are wondering about that, we can take the highs from back in April, the last bull cycle of 2021, May, and then go to the low here in August of 2023, high to low. Normally, cryptos during their next cycles, after having a cycle high, one cycle to the bear cycle low, they do top off somewhere in their 1618 to 2272 area most of the time. Don't believe me? Go through and look through any crypto that's been through multiple bull cycles. You'll see what I mean. This is often the area that they stop at. Sometimes you get things that stop at about what is it called? Like the 1414. Hold on. I don't know why it's so buggy right now, you guys. That's okay though. We're gonna get it back. It's a black screen. I'm sure that's annoying for everybody who's watching. It says that it should be working. Okay, cool. All right, so somewhere in this area, just right off the bat, is what I would expect. Let's see if there's any market caps that agree with that. So you're at a very low market cap. You have a lot of potential. Just because you have a lot of potential doesn't mean it's going to be realized. Okay, let's be real. But I do like the volume. If that has anything to say about it, I might have to invest in some DIA, you guys. I might rotate some funds into DIA from some other projects genuinely, because I could see this thing doing well. That volume don't lie. but sometimes it does. Don't take everything I'm saying as facts. Just because I'm looking at this as if it's interesting doesn't mean that it's actually going to do anything interesting. But I do think it's going to have a good pump. That's all I'm trying to say. I think it might blow you DIA investors away. You DIA investors, Denver International Airport investors. 55 million, let's call it 56 million because it's basically there. $56 million times 10 would be $560 million times 100 would be $5.6 billion. So a $5.6 billion market cap is what you would need if you want a 100x in this thing. Is $5.6 billion a big number? Yes. Is it an attainable number that most cryptos are maybe not capable? I don't know how to phrase this. Capable, maybe, of attaining, but do they deserve it? No. I think this thing can. I think something like this could definitely see a multi-billion-dollar market cap. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you want to know more about it, I encourage you to read the white paper, look into the website, determine if it's the right thing for you, look up the tokenomics, all that stuff, right? But let's run with the idea of 100x from here. So 100x at 46 cents would put you at $46. Well, hey, that's where your golden ratio is, right there. That's your golden ratio. Literally, 100x makes sense based on that. That's at the bottom of the zone there. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if I had to guess, I have a strong inclination that because most cryptos do from a high to low of a prior cycle, they hit their 1618 to 2272 area. If you don't believe me, if you think I'm just lying to you, you don't know. You haven't done analysis on various coins that literally have existed for multiple cycles that do this exact thing every single time. This is exactly the area that we go to, if not at least the 1414. So actually, let's entertain that. I like to do that. I like to entertain the thought of something that might be lower than even my lowest expectation. So even at my most pessimistic, I could see this thing doing at least a 50x. That's enticing. That's enticing, man. The average altcoin's probably not going to do a 50x. That's pretty damn enticing. $45 I think would be my expectation, but let's just say as a given, I think $23 is the minimum that I could see happening. I accept it as a possibility. I do, and I don't think that you should think of it any other way. It is an accepted outcome that could happen. You should be aware of it that way. Oftentimes with the 1414 though, you do go a little bit above it, to be fair. You don't stop right at it. You do go a little bit above it, but sometimes you stop right at it to a T. With the 1618, you do oftentimes stop right at it, and that's basically at a 100x from here, just under, but basically right at 100x. So I like that. The 2272 is all the way up here, and that is an 800x. Oh, that's like a 900x, man. I mean, what would 1000x would put you basically at $50 billion. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. I mean, I know 50, going from 5.6 to 50 or even $40 billion. That's a big jump. That's a big jump. But those are market caps that are attainable. If a project has the right narrative, if it gets the right traction, if it's had the right phases of accumulation, the right diamond hand holders get in, it gets the right hype with these bounces, you could see this. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there are cryptos every single cycle that see growth that is this big and even bigger. So to say it's not possible, it's impossible would also be wrong, right? I would equate this to the 1414. I don't think this is going to happen. It's not my expected outcome. It's just an accepted outcome. It could happen. Now, would I bet your money on it or my money on it? No, I would not. I don't think that's going to happen. And let me put it in another word, right? So that's 875x. That's a big difference between the 1886 here, which is a 240x. 240 versus 870. But the difference here between that area and this area, that's only a 3.6x. Only 3.6 is still big. Don't get me wrong, but it should that difference there in just showing you how like the difference in selling that should maybe encourage people to take profits, at least if you're riding this thing all the way from here all the way up to $110. Good job. But even if it does go to 400, you should at least think of taking some profits here, right? Of course, if you knew it was going to 400 and you didn't have to take profits and you could just hold it all the way through, that's the most ideal, but you never know, right? So the most ideal thing really is to mitigate your risk management, not overly expose yourself, right? It's the worst thing. It's the best whenever it's pumping. It's the worst whenever it's dumping and you don't take profits. It's the worst when it keeps dumping and you're waiting to take profits. Okay, so don't be that guy or that girl. I would think, again, realistic possibility, but not realistic expectations. Realistic possibility, to me, maybe even realistic expectations, but still not. I would say this is more likely. You're more likely to stop here than you are to stop here. And I mean, obviously, but I would say as far as a chance of which one's going to be your high, this one probably has a higher chance. Obviously, I think you will break through that. If I had to guess, if I had to give this thing a minimum, I would say $45.44 at the end of the cycle is what I would expect. And if not, I like this nice round number of $100, $110 right there. That'll give you like a 232x, 233x, and maybe you go all the way up to 162. You could go to the 200, a little bit above the 1886 here. This is kind of a zone of its own, and that would give you a 300 and basically a 350x right there, all the way up at 160. So anything from $45 to essentially 4 times that number is fair game. Yeah. By the end of the cycle, will it achieve any of these prices? No, nothing's guaranteed. I like the price action. I like the project itself. I think anybody and everybody, if you're interested, you should read into it and see if you can figure out why it might be a good choice for you. I encourage that everybody looks up their does their own research and does their own analysis. That way they're not getting screwed off of some random YouTuber's advice, right? Because that's just who I am. I'm just a random YouTuber. And it's not advice, it's just my opinions. Forgive me, I misspoke there. But I've got nothing else to say, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's end the video. All right, bye-bye.